Hello everyone, and welcome to another update of Forgo the Fear. It's been a little while since I have recorded last. Move this window up just a tad bit here. But I've been working on something pretty cool in the meantime, so I really wanted to get back into enemy creation. So I created this new monster system, and I think I have another video somewhere explaining a little bit of it, but I'm just going to kind of go through all of it again, just kind of the way that I wrote some of it and the way it all works. So if we move our guy in the middle of the screen here, I've actually hooked this up to be working with our editor and stuff. So let's open our editor and go to our enemies tab here. And now you'll see three different enemy types. We have the ghost type, we have the skeleton warrior type, and we have the skeleton archer type. Now currently, if we place a ghost, I'll just place him right here. So we got a new little particle effect that's there, and he'll just kind of chill there while we're in the editor mode. Now, the important thing to note here is, let's see here. Oh, now he's going to attack me. Yeah, stop. Okay, so the important thing to note here, let me bring up a little camera here. Okay, so as you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a CSV file that I pulled up into my Visual Studio. And here you can see all of these stats of the ghost that we have on screen. The health, the defense, and all these stats somehow affect the ghost that you're seeing. Now, by just changing any of these numbers, we can completely change the way that the ghost operates. We can do anything as simple as changing his name or his health, but we can also change stuff like how fast or how quickly it takes him to recover from an attack, or his speed, or how big he is, like his scale and stuff like that. All important stats. This would allow like a designer or something like that to go in and change stats around, tweak things, and tune the game to be as user-friendly as possible. So this is the ghost right now. This is kind of the first thing that we started with, right? And the ghost has a bunch of different states. You can see he'll chase me, and when I get in the target range, he'll try to attack, and I can dodge correctly. He doesn't do any damage to me currently, but if I shoot him, he takes damage, and you can see we have a little health bar there. We have some little floating damage numbers, and eventually when we kill him, he has a little bit of a death animation there and dies. Okay, so we also have two different enemies, and this is kind of where things get a little interesting. If I pull up, this is the skeleton base class. This is the normal skeleton, right? So the skeleton has a similar CSV, but a different one. So if I click the skeleton base, see the name changes, health is the same, defense is a little more, the alert ranges change, the speed changes, a bunch of stuff changed, especially apply physics has changed. And so you're gonna see this enemy behaves a little differently, but still kind of the same, he'll still chase me, he'll try to attack, and if I shoot him, he actually has a little bit of it's a little broken. Okay, so he has a little bit of a broken thing with that one animation, but eventually if I shoot him here, he'll die. And so where this gets interesting is now, because we have a base class, we also can have a subclass of the base class, which is the archer. Now the archer, as far as code-wise goes, is way smaller. It's basically like a copy of the base class with a little bit of things changed. So with not much of a code change and just a new CSV with some different health values, some different alert and attack ranges, some different speeds, that kind of thing, we can create an entirely new, or seemingly entirely new enemy that has a new behavior. So we'll create the archer, and you see similar kind of thing. Well, there we go. So he actually shoots an arrow, and that took a little bit of code to just put in a projectile and stuff like that. But all in all, this enemy is very, very similar. You can see when I shoot him, he actually has the correct animation. That when I shoot him, he kind of he kind of reacts a little bit to the bullet. And he has the same thing where when he dies, then he has a little death animation there. So this whole system is kind of predicated along the fact that we'll have these base classes. We'll have a ghost base class, we'll have a skeleton base class, and then we'll have these classes that kind of inherit from the base class, make minor changes in their CSV or in the code, whatever. But most of the behavior is defined in the base class, and then it's kind of built upon in subclasses and stuff. And so we could have a boss skeleton class in the future that is a subclass of the skeleton base class, but with a larger scale, maybe more health and defense and stuff like that. So this is kind of a cool system. I have tons of different animations and enemies that I want to add to the game, and all can be added pretty quickly. After I got the system built, adding, for example, the archer was way quicker than adding like the base classes and stuff like that. And so I'm excited to fill out this grid here with all kinds of different enemies and allow us to kind of, you know, go into a level and place, you know, a bunch of enemies, you know, all over the place, and be able to set them up and save them out in the CSV so that we can have, you know, a system going. If I did this, you'll see that they all eventually start coming after me. So thanks for watching, guys.